All right, so let us begin. This round was rather unique. There was a lot of crazy elements that have taken place during this round. First, let's talk about the competition. Esme, this was a blind round, which means you don't know who's won immunity, if anybody. You don't know who's won an advantage, if anybody. You only know what you did and how you did. How do you navigate around like this?
Um, very difficultly. It's a lot of tiptoeing, I feel like. I feel like that's kind of been the vibe this game anyways. So adding another layer of like cautiousness is making people really, really scared. And I get that. But it also makes it really, really hard to figure out what's going to happen
All right,
and where to
Max.
put your vote. Because like, yeah.
Max, we have the complications of the round, as Esme pointed out, but then we also have the complications of the jungle. But we really haven't seen too many things come out of the jungle. Is there a question as to where all these things might be?
I mean, is it a question of where, or is it a question of if people really want to go back into the jungle? I mean, I think when that hurricane cleared everything, everyone was like, okay, let's see what's up. And then I think within 30 minutes, three people lost items or, oh yeah, you wanna tell them what's up? Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Sorry. Tilly just wanted to get involved, of course. But no, I think a lot of it really has to do just with like the risk of the jungle nowadays and like losing your full inventory in that kind of situation.
All right. It was asked at the end of the last Inquisition by you, Brooke, whether or not I had said jury. Is there a lot of talks about what it takes to make jury? Are we at jury? How does that change your vote tonight? You're muted.
Oops, my apologies. First time you haven't heard me talk all season. Um, when it comes to jury and not jury tonight, that doesn't particularly change where I'm at on this vote. I'll be honest with you. Um, I think this is gonna be jury, and the only reason I think that is because the snake vote, if you read the rules, it says you can win the snake even if you're on jury. So I think it's tonight. It could be tomorrow. It could be final night. It could be. You could really just say, "Oh, there's going to be one person voting for the winner at Final Four," and I would not be shocked. But at the end of the day, if this is jury, cool. If it's not jury, okay. But I'm more focused on making it to 10 than I am getting the votes to win at the moment.
When Brooke brought up the snake, we can't talk about how anybody did during the snake comp, but you hear that slithering when you hear that rattle. Does it make the spine tingle?
You're talking to me, right?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Um, not so far. What was the question? I'm not going to lie, I never hear you.
How has the snake caused you to react?
Oh, the snake is fine. Like I can't control what other people are doing. Like if I got it, I got it. If they got it, they got it. Like it's not that it's not that serious in my head because um I can't control what anybody's going to do. Like I'm trying to play a game, and if I play and I get further, then that's good. If I don't, then that's fine too.
Scott, let's talk about the blending of relationships here. We have had, we started off as three tour groups and then we mixed up and there was an even number of tour groups on each tour group. We've been merged for quite some time now. How is everybody intermixed and relaxing? Are there alliances all over the place, left and right, one-on-one connections? How do you feel people are intertwined?
We're gonna have to wait to see the Edgic after the season, aren't we? I mean, like this is going to sound like a non-answer, and it's not a non-answer, but there's no way to know. There's no way to know. All we can do is speculate. Like, I think I'm not alone when I say it's been a pretty quiet game. And so how you interpret that kind of depends on your personality. Are you an anxious person who's going to say, why is it so quiet? Are you a busy person who's going to say, thank God it's quiet? It depends on you. And we're not really going to know the full story until this is all over. And it'll be really interesting to see what was actually happening.
So now there's often talks about play styles being either social, strategic, or physical. Would you say that a majority of this cast falls under which category? Social, strategic, or physical?
I mean, I think that for me, all of us kind of fall under a blend of them. But I think, I mean, at the end of the day, it's an online game. So most of it's going to be social, whether you're playing social as far as befriending everyone or social as far as creating strategic alliances. I think those are kind of one and the same, the two sides of the same coin. So I think for me, it's hard to, make it a physical game when not every challenge is physical. Lord knows I'm not a physical player if the cup challenge taught us anything at all. But I think that you can't rely on any one part of that. You kind of have to find a balance that works for your play style.
Mike, how important are competition wins at this phase of the game? Or because there's so many more people, it's not necessarily that important?
I think they're pretty important. I mean, like, their challenge is to guarantee you're safe. You never know when something might happen. So, like, just to have that insurance that you're safe is pretty nice. So I'd say they're fairly important. I would say they're always important. Yeah.
Wesley, we were talking earlier about how does one navigate around where you don't know who is safe, if anybody, and you don't know who has an advantage, if anybody. How do you try to figure that out?
I would say you try to just look at the data of the previous challenges. I can give you some correlation here. You also kind of go with your gut, get good reads, and just kind of hope for the best a little bit.
Last vote was fairly unanimous, right? A little bit of hiccups there, but for the most part, it was quite the landslide. When you have a vote like that with 12 people in the game, when you get to the vote with 11 people, does it make you that much more on edge? Because ultimately, somebody voted incorrectly.
Yes, because like to me, it seems like kind of like the lines aren't fully drawn in the sand. So like nobody really knows what's going on in other people's heads, and who knows, maybe they could be the next person being unanimously voted out.
So, Nick, Cam brings up lines not really being drawn in the sand. Are the relationships in this game really more of a Venn diagram?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Or even just a scatter graph, even. I think
A what?
every vote so far as it's been done mainly on a scatter graph. Just a random collection of data points. That's all right. Maybe on the scattered one. Yeah, so look, I guess yeah, there aren't really lines drawn, and it is more just personal connections and people wanting to keep playing with the people they like having around.
Esme, Nick brings up a good point. It does feel like everybody really is getting along and likes each other. Does that make these votes very challenging? How do you separate personal from strategic?
It's definitely hard. I am somebody that, yeah, it's just a hard vote. And it's been kind of hard votes because I feel like nobody is doing anything to alienate themselves or make themselves a big like threat or quote unquote villain. So it's like, what's the reason to vote somebody out? And it's kind of hard because it feels like you're pulling at hairs. And I think I also don't want to make anybody upset with how I vote, so it's just like on a personal level, I want us all to have fun. and I don't want somebody walking away from this game feeling like they were ganged up on for no reason. So it's also a really, really hard position to kind of figure out how to maneuver and how to do that.
Scott, are we at a point in the game where feelings are about to be hurt? Is the person going tonight going to be sad?
I want to believe, as a person who is rather emotional and has reacted negatively to things in the past, that like we're all experienced. We've all played enough of these to know that it is a game, and it sucks when it happens, but like we understand, right? I mean, and there's what, were there 20 of us or 18 of us? 18. Like we all signed up knowing that 17 of us are losing. And I get the vibe from everybody that like we all understand that. So I think we're gonna be okay. I don't know. It's such a random night anyway. It's kind of like who knows what the fuck's about to happen.
So, Ren, on the flip side to that, if everybody's okay and understands that it's just a game, does that turn the gameplay up even higher? Because it is just a game. You know, you gotta move along the board and then, sorry.
Just saying like with Scott saying that everybody's like experienced and stuff. Like, granted, I'm anxious as hell. I'll give you that one. Like, I'm like, oh, is everybody talking? But then hearing everybody being like, oh, it's a quiet game. It's a quiet game. I'm like, okay, maybe everybody's being quiet, and it's not just my chats being quiet. But granted that it is a game, like I personally won't hold like grudges against anybody. Like, you came to play a game, everybody wants to win. If you win this season, then that's how it goes. Like, everybody should just play what they need to play.
Sanam, if you were to describe the emotions felt as you sit at a tribal council, in our case, an Inquisition, preparing to vote to someone that has never experienced it before, how would you describe this feeling right now?
Terrifying.
Terrifying?
I need my camera on for that part. I feel like, and I mean, this is my second game, and I think one of the like the biggest learning curves for me the first time I played was game is game, personal is personal. I think I've said that to every person in every prod chat, but it's hard to make that distinction. And even when you think you're safe, then you're feeling like, okay, do I feel safe because something's going on, or do I feel safe because of my allegiances? And there's all this anxiety surrounding it every single time. And it's funny because I mean I got voted out eventually on my first game, and it wasn't that bad after the fact. So it's weird because it's the anxiety buildup, I think, of not knowing and the uncertainty, regardless of the outcome.
Brooke, how does one cope with that anxiety buildup? Is there a sense of release right afterwards?
To a degree. I mean, look, for those of us who have played these games ever before, right? I guarantee you, everyone that has played at least a game before has experienced the feeling of being voted out, of losing, of not making it to the end. We've all felt it. Also, my roommate is coming home. That is the noise you were hearing in the background. So getting through that and knowing that at the end of the day, this is a game and we do it because it's fun and we do it because we love it. For me, I get anxious at the fact of maybe it's tonight and I know it or I don't know it or whenever. But the thing that makes me more anxious is maybe this is the night and I'm not going to get to experience this again. Because getting voted out for me is less about the sadness of losing and more about the sadness I don't have to play anymore. So I hope that, and yes, that release does come a little bit, but then it just comes back at the next Inquisition, and like it's one of those things. So like, I'm always worried unless I have immunity, and I don't have that right now. At least I don't know if I have that right now. So I'm a little stressed. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, then let's talk about the small victories, right? Like, so Max, every Inquisition that you make it in the game, yes, there's the big win at the end of the season that we're all vying for, but in a little way, every time you survive an Inquisition, you win. What is that feeling like?
I mean, like you said it yourself, it's a small victory. You give yourself a little woohoo. But then usually within an hour, next challenge is out and you're like, all right, here we go. Gotta stress about this again. So I mean, when you make it past, it really doesn't last very long. Not as long as you'd like sometimes, or maybe would need, but it's just part of the game, and you just got to kind of figure out that you got to keep moving, and it'll all smooth out in the end, usually, for the most part.
Nick, let's talk about this scattergraph situation again with everybody scattering and graphing all over the place. Do you feel comfortable and confident in how you think this night is going to go? You are the only Nick left in the game, so you're at least the best Nick, right?
Yeah, that's right. And like I say, that was the main quest. Making final 10 as a side quest and everything thereon. Look, tonight is definitely the vote that I feel the least confident of. This is the fourth Inquisition that I've been to, and I was pretty confident of how the votes were going to go on the other three. But with a hidden, what is effectively a hidden forced immunity item to be played, that already just throws the cat amongst the pigeons. I'm not that confident. There's a plan. I will be following the plan. That I know. Everything else is slightly in the lap of the gods.
Mike, if it is you tonight, have you done everything you possibly could to play this game successfully?
I mean, I guess not, because I'd be getting voted out. Like I would be winning the game. But like, I mean, I think I could be proud of how I played. I think all of us should be. I mean, for how far we made it, I'm hoping, right, that it's jury. So like, hopefully we can all say that we've made jury. But I don't know. If it's me, I'm proud of the way. No hard feelings.
Honestly, this is now what your second Inquisition. As the person who made it the farthest in this without having to ever attend an Inquisition, are you starting to feel any sort of pressure here?
I'm muted? Seems good. Sorry, I was just getting I saw it muted for a second, it's like it's monitor, but whatever. I feel like pressure is always very high of like, you don't know what's happening, you don't know what's, you know. It feels like the longer you go without tribal, the less info you have. So it's always horrifying, to some small degree. I mean, there's a reason why there's like, I think 3 or 4 people who were merged boots who were booted out their first row council and actual forever. Which, to be fair, passed that line, but it's always nerve-wracking dealing with that kind of situation. Also, Ram was immune for the same amount of distance I was.
And Cam, for you, on the flip side, you've been to a lot of Inquisitions. You're rather experienced, you and a couple others here. So how does that weigh on? Do you feel more confident the more that you go, or do you feel less confident?
It never gets easier. I always feel like the same at every single tribal. I always worry that I'm going home because like there's no certainty of being safe unless you have guaranteed safety.
Really, no one here has yet.
Well, the anxiety is starting to get to me, so I'm ready to find out how the vote's going down, and I'm sure y'all feel the same way. But before we do, of course, if anybody has anything that they need to say.
I'd like to play Topher's Power.
What's the Topher power?
It's where I get to I don't know.
I would like to
I
would like to play my Topher advantage, and my Topher advantage removes to follow me Baxter as the host for the final vote. The host for the final vote.
They can pay
I
a
like to
lot of
play my
money to
Topher power of giving it a passion speech so you didn't do anything
listen.
in wheel. Like
They
the
paid a
most
lot of money to bring me in for this. All right, I charge the big bucks. I would have
They
said
wasted a lot of money
no,
then.
but I'm not doing anything else at the moment. All right, so I'm going to go off camera and mute myself. While I am away, you are allowed to talk about anything except for this vote and the game.
So this game is definitely a thing that exists.
Thank you for playing Jumanji.
Brooke, where did you get that hat from?
I got it from FYE when I worked there ages ago.
Yeah.
That is the single worst job I have ever had. Fun fact.
I'm a
Girl.
huge fan of Avatar, so that's why I was like, oh.
Oh, hold on.
I
Oh,
bought
boy.
my. Oh,
Oh
sorry.
Also,
I
there's
bought my
so many of
sibling.
you. Please bump your vote to the top of your prod chat, pretty please, for me.
Do we have to
I
add it or
have
just
an
like
avatar tattoo on my shoulder. I just really can't show you the best, but it's like
Yo.
pretty big.
It
I-
looked like the safety for like Outlaster. I love it.
I bought my sibling, I think for one of them for their birthday for Christmas, like an Appa plushie. It's like a little bit wonky looking, but we love it so much. It just is like a little bit off.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
I've got this.
I don't have any tattoos, but I've thought about getting an avatar.
Yo,
related to that.
yo, it's the koi fish.
So it has something from every season. So it has the koi from season 1. It has all the elements kind of as they start to explore more for season 2, and then season 3 is the White Lotus because that becomes the significance there. So
I'm gonna get a hi Zuko here as a tramp stamp.
Not the
The tramp stamp, Esme?
Yes.
Not the tramp stamp.
Not the
to get
Zuko.
Zuko with his catchphrase, "That's tough, buddy."
Mhm.
I think
No,
that'd be perfect.
Esme,
Okay,
you get,
but
I'm never happy as a tramp stamp. I'm never happy.
I mean
My mother called me a monster as a tramp.
why would you
I just want to know everyone's favorite Avatar ship because I'm all about the Katara Zuko ship.
Me
didn't the
too.
creator said people who ship Katara and Zuko are doomed to fail their relationships? Like they explicitly said that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty accurate given my track record, so that's on brand.
Don't at Sam.
Katara just is. Katara is stronger than everyone. No one beats Katara.
I do love Jet too, but not in the live action because in live action Jet's a little bit more psycho than usual.
Mhm.
This is a
Because like in the
house.
actual show, like even though like it's painful, you can kind of understand, especially as an adult. Now I can like am a little bit more radical than I was as a kid, but like still maybe don't kill a whole fucking village. But like in that version, in the live action, it's a little bit more. Oh, okay.
Yeah, to answer the Santa's question though, this is a Sakasuki apartment.
Mhm.
And yeah, Sakasuki forever.
Here.
I'm trying to see the dumbest possible Avatar ship. Like that has ever existed, like could ever be possibly.
Toph and Sokka.
That was
like
just funny.
That
I
like
don't
almost
mind it. It's just funny.
that almost makes sense. Like almost, like not quite, but almost. Like they're at least semi-age appropriate, whereas I guess not quite. I think she's a little younger. She's a bit younger at the time of the
Mine
series,
has
but-
to be Azula and that guy she met at the party.
Wait, what's Azula's friend that has a hip thing for Zuko? Because they're cute too.
May. There's
May.
May and
Does
there's
she marry him?
Kyrie.
May and
Forget.
Zuko are
Did they
underrated.
marry him in
They
Korra?
marry
In Korra, I
canonically.
forget.
I mean, keeping it 100, something happened to Suki because she's never in Legend of Korra.
Oh yeah.
She could have
Yeah,
just died.
She probably went and joined the circus.
Well,
okay.
well, canon in the comics, she pretty young.
Yeah. I am running a tabletop version of Avatar Legends right now. The RPG that came out a few years ago, right?
Stop.
And my party just met Team Avatar, or like part of Team Avatar, and Suki's about to die, and they don't know
Did you play
that.
as Airbenders? Did you play as Avatars in that?
What?
Did you play as Avatar in that?
No, I would
Like,
never.
That's what the entire series is about, though.
Well, it's set in the Avatar universe, but I'm not gonna let any of my players play as the Avatar. That's
But then
boring.
one character's like way overpowered.
I was
Correct.
gonna say that's hella OP. This
Yeah,
is
all my
coming out from
cool.
Loving Heart now, y'all.
Like my favorite player's character, she's playing a character with a bow and like just a bow and arrow user,
Mhm.
and she's so much fun. Love her. She's great.
Isn't it
Alright.
essentially just Sokka with a less interesting weapon?
No, because she's not funny. She's actually just a compassionate and loving person, which makes her really interesting in a world full of depression and pain.
Also, y'all, I finally got the haircut.
Let's go.
Like waiting. We got it.
Good job,
Also, I
Candace.
love when at the wedding when I had to hold hands with a woman I just met yesterday.
Oh.
And then like I made a joke to her husband, like
Topher's
and
back.
then like as I meet her husband, like talk to her husband a bit later. I was like, that's not awkward at all.
Is Topher? Oh, Topher's back with the skull. Oh god.
I'm scared.
I
Shout out
have
to
the ancient Incan Peruvian skull that has been painted in the art of the warrior. And inside this skull, I have the votes. But before the votes are read, if anybody has a hidden immunity idol or other relevant advantage that they would like to play, now is the time to do so.
Topher,
Yes, Rin.
how this going to work? Do we going to know who get immunity after? I know that was the question. You going to read the votes and then we get immunity for the next round?
I'm so glad you asked. I also happen to have the results of the immunity challenge.
Oh, okay, 10-4. Continue. Go ahead. I don't have an idol. Go.
And yes, once the results are announced, you may also opt to interrupt me and to play any idols or advantages that you might have as well, in case you were wondering. But the winner of immunity and is safe from the vote, negating any votes they may or may not have inside this ancient Peruvian skull painted to look like a warrior, is Max. Max, congratulations, you are immune. Any votes cast for Max will not count. Now, does anybody else have any idols or advantages they want to play? Great, it's time to vote. First vote, and I'm sorry I don't have my Peruvian colorful paper this time. Max does not count. Max does not count. Max does not count. Brooke, one vote, Brooke. Brooke, two votes, Brooke. Cam. Cam. Two votes, Brooke. Two votes, Cam. Brooke. That's three votes, Brooke. Brooke. That's four votes, Brooke. The next player to have fallen prey to the predators in the jungle. And your first member of the jury is Brooke. Brooke, you have become prey.
I have no problems with it, y'all. You all know it's game. I all know it's game, and I'm not going to hold any negative feelings. I respect the move, especially considering I was probably going to be flipping on the 8-person alliance myself. So if you're not in that 8-person alliance, I guess it's 7-person alliance now. You know who you are. And watch out for the person who masterminded the said blind side, which was Nick, not me. Just keep that in mind. So I'm going to go out as only an icon that I truly can. So tip of the hat, congratulations. You got me before you got each other. But only one of you can win. And may not be me, but sure as hell isn't going to be Nick either. Bye.
Thank you, Brooke. All right, with that explosion of fireworks and some crazy negated votes, next up will be a challenge that'll really test how well you feel you know each other. So let the chaos begin.